Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another DC deck building game. This is for Rivals, Green Lantern versus Sinestro. So the Rivals series are versus games. It's 1v1. There is the original set, which is Batman versus Joker. Then there's the Confrontation set, which adds four more heroes, four more villains. And you can check out more on that. I did go over, if you watched the Batman Joker, or if you just came from that and you watched that one first. I do talk more kind of about the differences and stuff they did with them sets. I'm not going to rehash it in this video. But yeah, otherwise, this basically plays the exact same as the regular deck building game with a few minor changes. The big changes, again, you are playing against one player versus another instead of against a nemesis deck. And then when you go to play against them, you actually have to enter a confrontation mode. So at the beginning of your turn, you can either decide to confront the other player, and then that means all your cards you're playing are just trying to defeat them, or you can play your turn as normal and try and recruit more cards, but you can't do both. And then there's various cards that only work during confrontation. And there's a couple other little tweaks in here we'll go over as we get through them. Otherwise, you have all your same cards. You get three versions of a character card, which we'll look at. The character cards are all going to have set symbols as well. So either Green Lantern or Sinestro, and then the confrontation box, the four heroes, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Zatanna, and the four villains, Lex Luthor, Ceres, Ocean Master, and Felix Falco, all have their own symbols. The original version of Batman and Joker do not have any, but the reprint that is coming out will have new symbols on them. And the point of the symbols are more or less, so if you want to play Green Lantern versus Joker, you can pull out all of the Batman cards out of the deck, which will have the Batman symbol, grab all the cards with Green Lantern symbol, and then play them against the Joker. It's just so you can mix and match the correct cards with each other instead of just swapping like character cards. That way each deck kind of, each player still has cards in it that kind of work, but each character can buy any cards. So like in this set, Green Lantern can buy Sinestro cards, Sinestro can buy Green Lantern cards. That doesn't make a difference. It's just more or less for swapping the decks out. So you're going to have your lineup of your 5 cards, you're going to have your stacks. This is one thing that's different. Instead of a kick, we'll get a special hard, like, construct deck. So we'll look at that. Otherwise, all the rest of the stuff is the same. There is a special keyword for blocks. So normally there's cards that do attacks, which do various bad things, make you draw weaknesses, discard cards, stuff like that, usually on villain cards. And then there's defense cards, which lets you avoid them. Now, blocks are work for confrontation battles. So if you confront an opponent and you're deciding to play against them, you can play a block card after they've played all their cards. If they beat you, you can play a block to increase your, essentially like your health, or your confrontation total. Then that way they might not be able to beat you. But you don't have to play it until after they play everything. So that way if you know, oh, I can only add 2 and they're up by 4, you don't have to waste a card. And then cards also have experience points. You can also win that way. Attack, defense, resolving card abilities. We have all this different stuff. Alright, so we're going to hop in and look at these cards. We're going to look at our oversized cards first. So there is Green Lantern. Some of the stuff they added on there, again, they have the symbols. They also added level cards, just in case that helps. Otherwise, it goes by the cost at the bottom. So if I'm playing Sinestro, I have to spend 9 points to beat level 1 Green Lantern. And then if I do, he becomes level 2. Now I have to spend 12. If I do that, he becomes level 3, and I have to beat 15. And all the character cards are always 9, 12, 15. That's always the standard, so they're always the same amount. But yes, this is kind of neat how you can do that. So if we look at Green Lantern is going to say, once during each of your turns you may, or if you control a hero and a construct, you may destroy a card in your hand. his level up says, once during each of your turns, if you control a hero and a construct, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. And his level 15, which usually the top ones have a confrontation ability, says, confrontation, each time you play a hero, reveal the top card of your deck. If there's a construct or a defense, draw it. Otherwise, you may discard it. So during a confrontation, you can gain some extra cards. Sinestro has, once during each of your turns, if you control a villain and a construct, attack. Each foe discards a card. If one or more foes discard a card with 0 cost, this way, +1 power. Then his Sinestro Core version is, I like that his cards actually evolve. He goes from his regular Sinestro outfit to his Sinestro Core outfit. +1 power for each attack. The first time one or more foe fails to avoid an attack during each of your turns, draw a card. And then he becomes his Parallax version. Confrontation, +1 power for each villain you play. Each time that foe fails to avoid an attack, draw a card. So he gains bonuses for people drawing cards. Alright, we're going to look at all the cards, but we're going to go through the basic stuff first, and then we'll split them in half, and we'll look at the villain, or hero cards first, then the villain cards. So this thing does another neat thing that the Batman set didn't do, but again, I don't know if the reprint will do it. So we have our punch cards, which have Green Lantern symbols. So these are our 7 cards you have for Green Lantern. And then we have the 7 punch cards for Sinestro, which actually make a full image, which is really cool. I don't know if they exactly go this far. They look like they probably have a gap between them. But still, that's actually pretty cool. But they split those up. They do the same thing with the vulnerabilities that you start with. So Green Lantern gets his vulnerability. And then Sinestro gets his vulnerability. Now, the Confrontation set does a similar thing, but not quite to this extent. They have half of each of the deck punches and vulnerabilities are hero cards, I think with Superman, and then the other half are villain cards with Lex Luthor. They didn't separate enough cards out for each player, just because you're never going to have all. I don't think the game's not designed to have all 8 characters out at once, although that would be pretty cool. So they didn't want to have like you'd have like 2 for this character, 2 for that character, or however. But they at least split it up half and half, so that way the good characters can play their good looking cards and stuff like that. Then we have a weakness deck, which is just like the regular weakness deck in another set that shows Hal Jordan with a bunch of Sinestro rings. And that's all the same. They didn't give us different ones for each of those. And then we replaced the Kick deck. So normally the base game and Batman have a super power deck, or a super power card, which is Kick, which just gives you +2 power for 3 costs. This now instead we get a Hard Light Construct, which is also going to have the Construct keyword, which works for both of their ability cards, which gives you the +2 powers, but it has a Confrontation ability. You may return this card to the stack. If you do, draw a card and then discard a card. So that's kind of fun. So if you have this card during Confrontation, you could get rid of it, which is kind of nice. You can use it to power up your deck, and then it's a way to eliminate it out of your deck later. And if you do, then you can also get an extra card. So that just kind of replaces that. Alright, then let's look at our hero cards, which are Green Lantern themed. So we have Ganeth and Syag. Play a card from the lineup, return it at the end of the turn. Confrontation, play an additional card from the lineup, return it at the end of the turn. John Stewart, you may put up to 3 constructs from your discard pile into your hand. If you choose not to, +3 power. Get the Blue Lantern, Saint Walker. Draw a card, block +X. X is the number of heroes in your discard pile. Kyle Rayner. Draw 2 cards, you may discard a card. If you do, attack each foe attack. Each foe gains a weakness. Now that's fun because again, heroes don't often have attacks. Guy Gardner, +3 power, block. X plus X. X is the villains confronting the player controls. Kilowog, +2 power, confrontation, +1 power for each defense in your discard pile. Carol Ferris, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Confrontation, put a hero from your discard pile into your hand. And what's also neat is it's on the back of her card. It actually shows a Star Sapphire symbol. And on the back of the Green Lanterns, there's a little Green Lantern. Even though they have them other symbols, it's kind of neat that they put the Blue Lantern symbol on the back. Just a little watermark, just to kind of show that they're a part of a different group. We have Arissa, +2 power. The first time you discard this card each turn, you may put it from your discard pile into your hand. Tomar 2, +2 power defense. They discard this from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card and then gain a weakness. Then there's some newer ones like 2/6. Draw a card. Defense, you may discard this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, gain a Hardlight construct from its stack and put it into your hand. Chiselion, +2 power. With defense, you may discard this from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card, you may destroy a card in your discard pile. Begig, +1 power. If this is the first card you play this turn, discard your hand and draw 4 cards. Iolande, draw a card, confrontation, gain a Hardlight construct from a stack and put it in your hand. Brother Roth, plus power equal to your level, block plus X, X is your character's level. Ooh, and we ran out of space there. Salak, +1 power, if you have a defense in your discard pile, draw it. And then finally we have Botaka, the Alpha Lantern version. You see her other costumes in the back. That's kind of cool. Like her previous, before she became a Lantern, and a Green Lantern costume. +2 power. Block +2, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. What's also neat about this versus like the Batman set is there's a lot more confrontation and block cards in the hero deck, where the Batman didn't have as many of those. So it's kind of neat to see where they kind of line that stuff up. Also, just seeing the other Lanterns, I would love if they came out with another, even like a bigger box set of confrontation type game where it had the other Lantern cores. That would definitely be fun. You get like Red Lantern, get some of the green. Even if they had, I consider it would be difficult to do that because I don't know if you'd have enough. Like with Red Lanterns, yes, there's probably enough. I don't know if there'd be enough Star Sapphires or the other cards to do it, but it'd be neat to have more add-ons to this. But yeah, I would love it if they did something like that. So we have, and plus I'm sure a lot of people love to play as Lara Fleas, the Orange Lantern. So go like Red Lantern versus Orange Lantern, that'd be kind of cool, even though those guys never actually fought each other. That's why they have to put in a bigger set. You can also add some more Green Lanterns. Green Sinestro characters have some different characters for them. But alright, so we have some superpowers. We have 1 copy of Willpower. Superpower, +1 power for each hero you control. Defense, you may reveal this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw a card, then discard a card. So there's 2 copies of Construct Train, which is going to get that construct ability, or keyword. Draw a card. Defense, you may discard this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw 2 cards, then put 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. It's also got 2 copies of Construct Jet. +2 power, you may put a card from the lineup on the bottom of the main deck. If you do, replace it. And 2 copies of Construct Shields. +2 power, block, +2, additional +2 if you have a defense in your discard pile. Then our equipment for the Green Lantern, or the Green Lantern Power Ring. Draw 2 cards, then put a card from your hand in the top of your deck. Defense, you may discard this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, put a construct from your discard pile into your hand or draw a card. 2 copies of the Green Lantern Power Battery. Equipment +2, you may put a defense from your discard pile on top of your deck into your hand. And then 1 copy of the Interceptor. +2 power, you may swap all cards in your deck with all cards in your discard pile. If you do, shuffle your deck. And then finally we have locations. We're going to of course go to Oa. Ongoing, once in your turn, draw a card, then put the card from your hand on top of your deck. And then Mogo. Ongoing, each time you are attacked, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. What's fun is since these don't have confrontation abilities, you could mix these in with other sets very easily. I also like that Mogo has a Green Lantern symbol because he's a lantern, but Oa does not, because even though it's a Green Lantern card, it's not an actual Lantern character. So it's kind of neat. Alright, then for Sinestro, we have some villains. We have Artillo, +3 power, block, +X. X is the number of heroes the confronting player controls. We have the actual Sinestro version of Sornak Natu. So a long time she was a Green Lantern, but then she became a Sinestro. She's Sinestro's daughter, actually. +3 power, defense. You may discard this card from your hand to avoid an attack. If you do, draw 2 cards. You may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Becca, who's a new god. +3 power. If one or more foes reveal or discard a card from their hand this turn, +3 additional power. Alyssa Drac, +2 power. Foes cannot avoid your attack this turn. Your next attack this turn. Bevodian, +2 power. Each attack each foe discards a random card. Riding Tail, +2 power. If you control a construct, you may pass a card from your hand to any player's discard pile. Nax, draw a card. If you attack or having attacked a foe this turn, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. Slush Us is one of my favorite characters. +1 power, attack. Each foe gains a punch from the destroyed pile. Crib, +2 power, confrontation, attack. Play as a hero or villain with a cost of 4 or less that is in a foe's discard pile. Return it at the end of turn. Ramet Ru, so Sinestro version. Not the same character, but from the same planet. Is Comet 2. +2 power, block, +2. The foe confronting you gains a weakness. I like that they just added the plus in there too, rather than being like, they gain extra amount. Like, they gain 2 to your health. They just added it, made it a little bit easier. So I hope that the Batman set when it gets reprinted, they adjust that, because that makes it a lot easier to figure out. Oh, block, this gives me +2, great. And then if it has a special ability. Karsku Sil, +2 power, confrontation, +1 power for each construct you control. The Manhunter Army, draw a card, block X. X is the number of villains in your discard pile. I got a few more here, just ran out of room on there. Mash. +1 power, attack. Each foe puts a card with a cost of 0 from their discard pile at the bottom of their deck. Tri-Eye. If one or more foe fails to avoid an attack this turn, +3 power. Otherwise, +1. Despelates. Draw a card. Each foe reveals a top card of their deck. Attack. All cards revealed this way cost 1 or greater revealed this way. And Parallax. It's just kind of weird. We got Parallax, but we didn't get Ion, which is the aspect or like beast for the willpower. Draw 2 cards. You may choose a foe. Attack. You may pass a card from your hand or discard pile to that foe's discard pile. So the villains have a lot of attacks. The heroes had a lot of stuff that did confrontation. our superpowers. We have 1 copy of Fear. +3 power, Confrontation. +1 power for each attack in your discard pile. 2 copies of Construct Missiles. +2 power, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. 2 copies of Construct Beasts. +1 power, if you attack or have attacked before this turn, draw a card. And 2 copies of Construct Slam. Draw a card or block 2, an additional +2 if you have an attack in your discard pile. Our equipment is we're going to get 2 copies of the Sinestro Core Power Rings. +2 power, attack each foe discards a card. 2 of the Sinestro Power Batteries. +1 power, put an attack from your discard pile into your hand. And then 1 of the Book of Parallax, +3 power, Confrontation, draw a card for each attack you have made this turn. So now, you can kind of see we're buying all the villains. Sinestro stuff sort of work together. They have a lot more attacking stuff that evolves attacks, and the heroes kind of work together. But you can play mix and match stuff. We have 2 locations. We have New Cougar, which is Sinestro's homeworld. Ongoing, the first time a foe reveals an attack during each of your turns, ignore the defense reward. So they still get to block it, but they don't get any bonus for blocking it. And then Ranks, who's actually a member of the Sinestro Corps, much like Mogo. Ongoing, the first time one or more of your foes fails to avoid an attack during each of your turns, you may destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. So that is those. Alright, so that is what we have for Green Lantern versus Sinestro. Seemed like I said, versus like the Batman Joker one, the confrontation stuff was a lot more on the hero cards versus other cards. So it plays different dynamics by mixing these together. If you're playing a 4-player game, you mix all the 4 decks together to definitely add some interesting, more dynamic to that. Then you have Sinestro and Joker versus Green Lantern and Batman. Be some interesting combinations there to see what everyone can do. Also saying, like I said, it'd be really fun for this series to I know they're coming with Flash versus Reverse Flash, and they have the Confrontation, which have some other iconic characters. I would love to see a sequel to this. And the thing is, you don't even have to have all the characters have a symbol that matches it. That'd be the thing, is you could almost have a little bit bigger box, have the big Confrontation box, which has 8 characters. So have 4 characters, have Red Lantern with Atrocitus, Star Sapphire with the Violet Lantern, Star Sapphire, Carol Ferris. You could have Indigo with Indigo 1 if you wanted. Or you might even skip that. Maybe do Black Lanterns, have Black Lanterns as one group, and then have Lara Fleas. And then not maybe have one for Blue or Indigo because maybe they're harder or there's not enough members that really got enough time. That would be fine. But that's what you then use the other 4 character slots for. Is maybe then having new Green Lantern cards that could be added into a deck. New Sinestro cards. Then some Blue Lanterns, some Indigo Lanterns, just other character cards that could get added in to a deck. So maybe not enough to mess with the deck, not enough for a full half character worth, but just a couple extra to add in. It'd be really neat. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. Plus, then you could get other versions of characters that have been them, or especially if you had Black Lantern, you can even have them have a bigger deck, even a secondary deck, and you could have them be a 3-on-1 boss mode deck, which would be really cool. Alright, that's just me rambling at the end here. Check out the other videos. See you guys then. Bye.